The MCU doesn't seem to care much about its heroes maintaining a secret identity, but that doesn't mean that they just run around using their real names, and most of them still use their respective professional titles. Welcome to Screen Rant, everybody. I'm Greg Elliott, and here's everybody who became an official Avenger during the Infinity Saga and how they each got their superhero code names.
Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Tony Stark's final battle with Obadiah Stane in the first Iron Man made headlines, and just before Tony meets the press to refute the rumors he's the one wearing the armor, he reads a newspaper dubbing him Iron Man. And while he argues it's not an accurate description, he clearly still liked it and decides to admit to the world that he is in fact the man behind the mask. And for most of his time in the MCU, Bruce Banner has tried to exist separately from the Green Rage monster, and he usually would only refer to him as the other guy. But in the Avengers, he called his other persona Hulk for the first time, and since then, more and more people have started calling him that.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you your incredible...
Thanks to the coronavirus, we have yet to see Natasha Romanoff's full backstory, but as an alumnus of the Red Room, aka the Black Widow program, she took the name like everybody else who underwent the same training. But in the MCU, she was first called Black Widow in Russian by Colonel General Georgy Luchkov during her first scene in the Avengers. And as one of the few MCU heroes who doesn't actually have a code name, Thor simply goes by his given name, Thor. In the comics, he sometimes uses the name Donald Blake to keep a low profile on Earth, but since Marvel Studios isn't big on secret identities, they opted to simply call him Thor.
Voice activation required.
Thor.
Access denied.
Strongest Avenger.
Access denied.
Strongest Avenger.
Access denied.
After the super soldier serum turned Steve Rogers from a 90-pound weakling into a bona fide superhero, instead of deploying him to the front lines, the US government used him to raise funds for the war and gave him the name Captain America, a nickname that stuck even when he became an actual soldier and hero. And Clint Barton's brief introduction in the first Thor earned him the nickname the Hawk from Dr. Selvig, but the first official use of his superhero name was in the Avengers when his profile is shown stating that he goes by the codename Hawkeye. It was clear from the first Iron Man film that Rhodey would eventually get his own suit just like in the comics, and despite the recasting to Don Cheadle, they still went with that plan in Iron Man 2, and we first heard him called War Machine by Tony in the middle of their first fight.
You want to be the War Machine? Take your shot.
Put it down!
You gonna take a shot?
Put it down!
No!
Now here's an interesting one. Although Tony did refer to her as the Witch in Age of Ultron, Wanda Maximoff has yet to actually be called Scarlet Witch in the MCU. But we imagine that's going to change pretty soon with the upcoming WandaVision show on Disney+. And speaking of Vision, the word Vision was supposed to refer to Tony's foresight, but Ultron later referred to him as My Vision, and the name pretty much just stuck from there.
Falcon, status?
Engaging!
Sam Wilson was originally a US Air Force test pilot for the XO-7 Falcon harness, and as of Captain America the Winter Soldier, now goes by the name Falcon whenever he's on the job. But after Steve passed him the shield at the end of Endgame, we've got a feeling that he may be using a different name in the near future. And the newest official member of the Avengers, Peter Parker, was very clear in Captain America Civil War that he's not to be called Spider-Ling or Spider-Boy, but in fact named himself Spider-Man when he started out operating as a friendly neighborhood superhero. And now that the whole world knows who he is, we'll just have to wait and see if he owns up to it or tries to cover it up somehow. We'll be the first to let you know if we learn anything on that front, so keep coming back to Screen Rant to stay up to speed on all things MCU. I'm Greg Elliott, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.